Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and welcome, Minister, to the House. The issue I'm raising this morning is to talk about the issue in relation to fibromyalgia. And about the need for an improved medical care service on this area. As you know, Minister, this is a condition which is, I suppose, nerve dysfunction. It's about chronic pain. It's about fatigue. People who suffer from it suffer a lot from migraine. There's also a thing called restless leg syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, difficulty in regulating body temperatures, and that's all part of fibromyalgia. And there's a need for a proper structure in relation to dealing with this issue. In fact, the group were in before the Health Committee back in July 2012, and I suppose very little progress has been made since on it. Now, I know in Northern Ireland and the UK there's been some changes made about the recognition of this condition and the need for a planned approach to healthcare. And it's in that context that I'm raising this issue about the need for a structure to put in place, not only within the Department of Health, but also and the whole HSE service, but also in relation to the Department of Social Welfare. For instance, the Department of Social Protection, there was Protocol 6 accessible online. And Protocol 6 dealt with, it's a 63-page document dealing with chronic pain and fibromyalgia. And you know, that now appears to be, it's obviously an issue where people have difficulty then, why they have this condition, in getting through the whole social welfare system in relation to qualifying for disability benefit or long-term illness benefit. And it's in that context, Minister, that I'm raising this issue about the recognition and about having a planned approach for dealing with this, dealing with patients who have this condition.
Thank you, Senator. Minister.
Thank you. Okay. Well, again, on behalf of Minister Harris, I would like to thank Senator Burke for giving the opportunity to update the House on this important issue. Can I just add to it, last week I actually took this on behalf of Minister Harris in the Dáil as well, where there was a number of speakers and where some of the speakers spoke about this very disabling disease, fibromyalgia, and how many doctors find it very difficult to even diagnose it at very early stages and beyond. So to thank Senator Burke for his contribution. Minister Harris acknowledges the seriousness of the symptoms of fibromyalgia and many challenges that people can with the condition encountered in their daily lives. The exact prevalence of fibromyalgia in Ireland is not known, but it is estimated it affects approximately 2% of the population, with many symptoms with trends which vary from person to person. The main symptoms of fibromyalgia include pain, stiffness, frequent and even depression. Factors and even depression. Anyone can develop fibromyalgia, although the condition typically affects more women than men and generally occurs between the ages of 30 to 60. Fibromyalgia is a difficult condition to diagnose, as there is currently no specific test for this, and its symptoms can be similar to those associated with other conditions, and unfortunately there is currently no cure. A GP who diagnoses fibromyalgia based on the patient having a typical mix of symptoms and ruling out as many conditions that could cause these. Treatment for the condition requires intervention from various medical specialties in order to manage and associate symptoms when they arise. As fibromyalgia has several different symptoms, no single treatment will work for all the symptoms and for all patients, and there are, however, a number of treatments that may ease symptoms. It is likely that the person will need to try a variety of treatments to find a most suitable approach for them. This approach to treatment will be decided jointly between the patient and the GP, depending on which is the preferred, which is available and what is clinically approved for each individual patient. This will normally be a combination of medicines and lifestyle changes. Several different healthcare professionals, in addition to GPs, may also be involved in the treatment, depending on the complex needs and the symptoms arising from individuals' patients, for example, rheumatologists or neurologists. As well as medicines, there may involve pain medication and antidepressants, and there are some other treatments options like exercise, physiotherapy, conjunctive cognitive behaviour treatment can also be used to help cope with the symptoms of fibromyalgia. In the context of this important medical care, it is important to note that the National Clinical Programme for Rheumatology in HSE has produced a model of care for rheumatology in Ireland and seeks to address the needs of patients with fibromyalgia and those of all other patients with rheumatology diseases. The model of care aims to ensure that the patient is seen and assessed and treated by the right person in the right place at the right timeline manner. The Government is committed to expansion of the primary care in line with the vision set out in Social Care. The aim is to ensure that all citizens, including those suffering from fibromyalgia, can offer the right care in the right place at the right time and be supported in the local community wherever possible. Minister Harris is aware that there has been calls to include fibromyalgia as a specified condition under the long-term illness scheme. These requests have been considered carefully. However, currently there are no plans to extend the LTI scheme. I would note, though, that the proposed that the LTI scheme would be included as part of the review of the basis for existing hospitals and medicine changes, which is to be carried out under a commitment given in Sláinte Care Action Plan. Those suffering financial hardship may also be eligible for medical cards. In accordance with the overall eligibility framework, this decision is not based on particular illnesses, but rather than the overall financial situation of an individual and family. It is important to note that under the drug payment scheme, the maximum monthly amount that anyone is required to pay for their medicine is being reduced from €134 to €124. As such, all those with fibromyalgia are urged to check their eligibility for a GP visit card and medical card and application for the drug payment scheme at the local health office through the mdps.ie website. It is the Minister's sincere hope that as many people as possible with fibromyalgia benefit from these measures.
Thank you, Minister. Senator.
Thank you very much, Minister. As you're aware, Minister, and I think your reply deals with it, it is a complicated issue, and it is difficult sometimes to, the symptoms present, condition presents in different ways. But I do think, Minister, there's enough research now done to clearly show that this illness is long-term, it doesn't resolve, and therefore I think, the drugs refund scheme, I think there's 15 different conditions not under the drugs refund scheme, under the long-term illness scheme. There are 15 different conditions which are recognised under the long-term illness scheme. And I think it's something that we should be looking at, a more planned approach to this condition, because a huge amount of progress, and you were on the Health Committee with me when we dealt with this back in July 2012, Minister. And I think, 7 years on now, we should be trying to make a more proactive and planned approach to dealing with this condition, both in relation to healthcare and also in relation to the social welfare system. And I would ask, Minister, that this issue would be reviewed by the Department of Health and see what new actions can be taken to help people who have this condition. It's not going to go away from people. They face a lot of challenges, both medically and financially, and therefore I think we should deal with it in a more planned approach. Thanks, Minister.
Thank you.
Just to conclude, and again to thank the Senator for raising the issue, and as I said, I took this matter from Minister Harris in the Dáil last week after a number of speakers spoke about this fibromyalgia. And I suppose one of the things that came out of last week's debate in the Dáil and here today is the fact that I did approach Minister Harris regarding the issue that was raised, particularly around long-term illness. And some of the issues that were raised as well, that you have raised, Senator Burke, are everyday issues that people who are living with fibromyalgia are finding it so difficult even just to live out their daily lives with. I will bring Senator's concerns back to the Minister on this and ask that a more appropriate process would be put in place for caring for people with fibromyalgia, and into the long term under the Sláinte Care report that we could put a step-by-step model in place for people with fibromyalgia. It's a very debilitating disease. I know two people with it myself, and I know on a daily basis life can be very hard for them as well. And I understand that Minister Harris, after speaking to him, welcomed the agreement on the reform at the first time and will see structures care patients with chronic conditions in primary care settings from 2020 and will benefit over 430,000 medical cards and GP card holders over the next years. And I, again, just to reiterate to the Senator that I will do my utmost best to convey your concerns and ask Minister Harris if he can even come back to you on that.
Thanks, Minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Senator.